guys, so today we are going to discuss and learn multiplying and dividing integers. Super easy. I'm going to show you a really cool trick that I picked up along the way of teaching, and hopefully will help you. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so getting started, I really want to stress to you all that this little trick only works with multiplying and dividing integers. It is not going to work if you're adding or subtracting the integers, okay? So just keep that in mind. The tic-tac-toe board only works specifically for multiplying and dividing negative and positive numbers or integers. Okay, so you start with a tic-tac-toe board. Everyone knows tic-tac-toe, correct? All right, so we will put positive down the diagonal, and it could go down this diagonal or you could put it this way, but the positive sign needs to go down a diagonal, whichever one you choose. Then you fill in the rest with negatives, and I can show you, we all know that 2 times positive 2 is positive 4. Sorry, did not mean to say negative. All right, so if you find out on here, if you look, these are the signs. Positive, negative, 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 positive, positive. So look, these two numbers, these two integers are positive. So we have positive 2 and positive 2. This tic-tac-toe board works up and down, backwards and forwards, across and diagonal. So what you need to do is find out, okay, so which pattern in the tic-tac-toe board works with what I have right here. I have two positives, right? So if you look right here, this is it, or you could go backwards. You can go backwards or forwards. So positive 2 times positive 2 equals a positive 4, okay? If we were going to do negative 2 times positive 2, we can look and we can look. So where do I have negative, positive? Right here in the middle, I have negative, positive, and it works backwards or forwards. So if we said negative 2 times positive 2, we get a negative 4, okay? And it works backwards or forwards. So it would be the same thing as negative 2. Right here, I've got a negative. I'm finding my negative sign. Times positive 2 equals negative 4, okay? If you were to do, I don't know, you could do 12. We could do positive 12 times negative 3, okay? So I need to look for a pattern in my tic-tac-toe that's positive then negative. And I see it. I see positive then negative here, and my answer is going to be negative. I see positive here and then a negative. My answer is going to be negative. So we know that 12 times 3 is 36. We do know that. So we just got to figure out, is my answer to this multiplication problem, is it going to be a positive or a negative? So I start with positive 12 times negative 3 is going to be negative 36. Okay, and it works this way too up here. Positive 12 times negative 3 is negative 36. Okay, so let me do another one. Let's say we were going to do negative 4 times negative 5. Okay, we know that 4 times 5 is 20. We should know that. We're in 7th grade. So we know the answer is 20, but what we want to know is our answer going to be a positive or it's going to be negative? So if we use the tic-tac-toe board, and if you want to pause this and write this little tic-tac-toe board down in your journal, go for it. I do not care. I'm all about you writing it down. So we have a negative 4 times a negative 5. So if I'm looking, I see negative and negative here, and I see negative and negative here. Okay, so let's look. Negative 4 times negative 5 equals positive 20. Negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20. Look right here too. Negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20. So I just want you to know that this works backwards, forwards, ups and down, diagonal. Anyway, if you had, negative, let's say it was -4 times +5. You could go right here. -4 times +5 is going to be a -20, okay? If I got rid of the negative sign right there. All right. So if you have questions on how to work this, pause the video, raise your hand. But remember, I'm going to stress it again. This tic-tac-toe board only works when you're multiplying or dividing integers, okay? It does not work with addition and subtraction of integers. That would be amazing if it did, but it just doesn't. So just keep that in mind, okay? Thanks, guys. Okay, so next we're going to talk about if we're combining, adding and subtracting integers with multiplying, dividing, and then we're going to discuss if we have multiple operations of multiplication. So it's not really a big deal, but you got to make sure that you understand the rules for addition and subtraction of integers, and then you understand the rules for multiplication and division. All right, so we have this problem right here. And if you remember, we've started with PEMDAS at the beginning of this chapter. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That is super important that you follow. So what we do first is we're going to solve what's on top of this first, the -28 plus the +4. So we know from our addition and subtraction lesson that when you're adding negatives and positives, you take the sign of the larger number. So the larger number between 28 and 4, the greater number is 28, not the greater value. Even though 28 is smaller than +4, it is a greater number. There's more negatives than positives. Okay, so we'll take the negative sign, and I'm just going to do this. I know that we take that, the sign of the larger number, and we subtract because we got a negative and then a positive. And 28 minus 4 is 24. So we have -24 divided by 2. Okay? So we know that we have a negative and then a positive. This is division. Okay? So we know that negative divided by positive is going to be a negative answer. Our answer is going to be -12. Okay? All right, so I just want you to know to make sure you understand the difference in the addition rules and the multiplication and division rules, addition and subtraction rules versus the multiplication and division. Okay, so next we have this problem right here. So if you wanted to do this problem using the tic-tac-toe board, totally fine. If you want to do the problem based on the rule, when I was younger, I was always told if you have a positive number of, I'm sorry, not positive. If you have an even number of negative signs, then your answer is going to be positive. If you have an odd number of negative signs, then your answer is going to be negative. And I can see that I have 1, 2, 3 negative signs. That 3 is an odd number, so my answer is going to be a negative answer. Okay, I already know that, because that's how I was taught. But if you want to use the tic-tac-toe rule board, that's fine. So we're going to do this first. -8 times -5. -8 times -5 is +40. Okay? So we have 40 times -6. All right? So now we have a positive times a negative. So we know that +40 times -6 is going to be a negative answer. And 4 times 6 is 24. And so my answer is going to be 240. And we know positive times a negative. Positive times a negative is negative. So it's -240. Okay, so I already knew that because I noticed that I have 3 of these. And I know that if I have an odd number of negative signs, my answer is going to be negative. If I had an even number, let's say this 8 was even, well, let's see. Yeah, because you would do 8 times -5, or you could do -5 times -6, whatever you wanted to do. So if we did +8 times -5, +8 times negative 5 is negative 40. So then that would be negative 40. Okay, and then you're still multiplying negative 40 by negative 6. So negative 40 times negative 6 would be a positive. Okay, so whatever way you want to do it. The original problem was this, sorry. Don't want to confuse you guys. But if you have 1, 2, 3, 3 is an odd number. If you have an odd number of negative signs, your answer is going to be negative. If you have a positive number of negative signs, your answer will be positive. All right, so if you have questions, raise your hand. Make sure you take your time on the quizzes assignment. There's no need to rush. We want to make good grades on our first try.